I'm Scott Hall. After a career as a packaging engineer, I bought an inn. I have now been in the industry for the last 8 years, and I was a customer who wanted to use what I learned as an owner, so I joined the marketing team. I love working with clients on their strategies and looking for answers in the data. As a former property owner and someone who works with hospitality professionals on a day-to-day basis, I want to explore how associations are moving the hospitality industry forward and what value businesses can expect from them. I frequently talk to clients about marketing budgets. ROI questions come up about the value of the different spends and associations. They ask me about X or Y organization and what more can I tell them about those organizations. We are all seeing that property owners face cost increasing, changing traveler behaviors, and dynamic search landscapes. Sarah and Mark, can you introduce yourselves to the audience?
Sure. I'm Sarah Gazy, CEO of the Association of Lodging Professionals, and I work with independent lodging owners and managers to support their businesses through education, advocacy, and community. I've been with ALP for about 3 years now, and my role touches everything from our conference to our educational initiatives, and I am happy to be here, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Excellent.
And thank you for inviting me as well, Scott. My name is Mark Reichley. I'm the CEO of Select Registry, and we're a membership association for independent lodging professionals. So while we might serve the same segment of the industry as ALP does, our focus is a little bit different. So our mission is about quality assurance and validating our member properties, creating opportunities for networking for our members, and then also connecting travelers who use Select Registry as a trusted tool for their travel searches with our member owners. So I've been involved with Select Registry for about 28 years, first as an inn owner and a member, and more recently as a part of the Select Registry leadership team.
How do your associations drive value for hospitality professionals?
Independent lodging professionals do so much. They're running the businesses, they're taking care of guests, they're handling day-to-day operations all at once. What ALP does is to help take a little of that weight off by giving them practical education and resources that make their lives easier, and a community where they can ask questions and get real-world advice from people who truly understand their world. And through our partnership with the American Hotel and Lodging Association, AHLA, we keep them updated on anything happening at the national and state levels so they don't have to track it all themselves. It's really about helping them feel supported and connected so they can focus on what they do best.
That's excellent. Our value proposition starts with our quality assurance assessment. So, and it's more than just a rating. It's a consultative process that helps each property identify opportunities to enhance the guest experience and to strengthen their business. Once a property becomes a member, our goal is to create a meaningful connection between travelers and our individual inns, their destinations, and their experiences. We market directly to our consumer database on behalf of our members, and we also equip our members with tools to reach travelers and to streamline their guest journey. Those tools might include technology, so solutions like access to a chatbot or a digital guest book. We have a robust rewards program that really encourages repeat stays and referrals between properties. And then there's also the opportunity to access our staff, to talk with them about refining your strategy, or to access our database for targeted direct outreach to the consumer. Just as important as connecting with a traveler is connecting with fellow innkeepers, and members immediately gain a community of business-minded peers, and it offers them a powerful opportunity to share ideas, learn from one another, and grow their business together.
That community certainly is a huge value in both of your organizations.
Absolutely.
To make that network. Additionally, that quality program that you have is such a unique offer and such a unique opportunity for your properties to be able to get that insight.
Absolutely. Well, I think, two comments related to to what you said. I think first is that sometimes the networking piece is often forgotten. Everybody's kind of tied up in their day-to-day activities, and they've got a lot of demands on their schedule, and networking is something that gets left behind. But I know from my experience, it was invaluable. And then the quality assurance program is really our way of offering the member a way to differentiate themselves from a big hotel, from an Airbnb, or if they're in a competitive market from other folks who are doing the same thing.
I often attribute my network to the success that I had as an innkeeper. Is there a story or an example, even a small moment or data point, where a member really felt the value return to their business?
Yeah, a great example of this came from one of our peer-to-peer conversations that we have regularly. A member shared a simple adjustment that they made to their rate structure, and offering guests a little bit more flexibility in exchange for a slightly different cancellation policy. It wasn't anything complicated, but it gave guests peace of mind and in turn boosted the property's revenue. Other members heard the idea and adapted it in their own way because one size does not fit all. And they started seeing similar results. And that's the power of members sharing directly with each other, is that practical ideas actually move those needles. And it's amazing to see all the time. I love it.
I've talked to clients and they've told me they've come from your conversations and asked me questions about, oh, here's a perspective on this. Can you give me some more feedback on that?
Yeah. And our members are really each other's best resource, and we love to see that. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and it's amazing to me. We were talking about this in the car. It's amazing to me how members are really, really willing to share and help people learn. And they don't look at another member as a competitor. They look at another member as somebody that they want to do well.
Yes.
So,
and they can pick up the phone when they need to.
Absolutely.
I need some feedback.
Yeah, it's a really unique quality for this industry to be able to everybody just to share and be so giving, and nobody's hoarding their information and successes. It's great.
Yeah, it's really refreshing.
A great part of our industry, yes.
So we recently partnered with a hospitality technology company, not only to put a chatbot on our site, but more importantly, to extend that benefit to our members. And it happened to be at no charge to them. And we, after a couple of weeks, heard from many of the members who were taking part in this chatbot, who said that they really saw the advantages of having some of the repetitive questions taken care of. Questions like, do you have parking? What is your pet policy? All of those things can be addressed easily by a chatbot, and it frees our members up to really have good conversations and more meaningful conversations rather than spending their time answering questions that can be easily answered elsewhere.
Can also help them navigate the website if
Absolutely.
they can't necessarily find that specific answer that they're looking for.
Yeah, and it's friendly, and I think it takes into consideration a lot of different technical levels of folks who arrive on the site, and interestingly enough, handles the questions well.
And I like how it will send somebody to make a phone call if they can't answer it.
Right.
Both your associations have a large membership that renews. Can you tell us what the biggest reason for those members renewing?
The number one reason members renew is really the sense of support and connection they get from being part of the ALP community. Independent lodging can really feel isolating. And having a place where you can ask questions, brainstorm with your peers, and get real world advice makes a huge difference, as we were just talking about. Members tell us they renew because the relationships and the resources genuinely make day-to-day operations and business easier. And so, we're very proud of that.
And
they could even have a debate at a conference.
They could.
If they have differing opinions.
They do.
Well, it's interesting because most innkeepers, I shouldn't say most, but many have left kind of a corporate environment where they have a ton of colleagues that they can bounce ideas off, and all of a sudden you get into your inn or your B&B and you have nobody to
Yeah.
bounce your ideas off. So
Yeah, it's-
having a community is really important.
Yeah, it's nice to have the people that are doing things like pretty much the same thing that you're doing every day that really understand and get it.
You don't have to explain the misery. They get the misery, right?
Or they just, you haven't encountered a situation and somebody else has done it multiple times. Yeah.
Right. So, when our members see a combination of quality assurance that aligns with their brand, a community that aligns with their strategic vision, and traveler engagement, working for their business, renewal becomes an easy decision for them.
Given how competitive the landscape is, how are your marketing efforts helping members show up in meaningful ways, whether that's through consumer-facing exposure, stronger industry positioning, or better visibility that leads to more bookings?
Okay. This one's a little different for ALP.
Curveball.
Because ALP doesn't market properties directly the way that Select Registry does. What we do is help members strengthen their marketing through education, connections to trusted providers, and resources that help them make informed strategic choices. Being a part of ALP also gives properties added credibility. It signals professionalism to guests, partners, and to the industry. I know myself, when I'm looking for some sort of service, I always check to see if they belong to an association. I think it says a lot about an individual or a company. We've created a few other opportunities that offer broader visibility. Last year, we launched our Great Stay auction. And that's a good example. It really reached a wide audience of travelers who love independent lodging. And it gave us a chance to showcase many of our member properties in a fun and engaging way while also raising money. So for us, the value is strengthening and amplifying what they're already doing on the marketing side, not replacing it.
Yeah, so brand awareness is critical for us, and helping our members show up in meaningful ways to the traveler. Over the past few years, we've really focused our messaging on what makes independent lodging distinct. We've even coined a phrase, craft lodging, to highlight what sets our members apart. So it's authentic accommodations, unique experiences, and really making a connection with people and place. There's a competitive advantage our properties have over box hotels, vacation rentals, short-term rental platforms, and we are highlighting that in our message. But of course, that doesn't necessarily make sure that the net message gets out to the travelers. So we employ a number of ways to get that message of craft lodging out to the traveler. And that includes public relations and digital advertising, compelling content, social media, targeted communications, all intended to really do what marketing is supposed to do, drive business to our member properties.
Could you share a story or an example of how your marketing advocacy or collective outreach has helped a smaller property see a boost in attention, traffic, or bookings?
Yeah, we hear from members all the time who've taken something that they've learned in, let's say, one of our educational sessions or our peer-to-peer learning groups, and they've seen real results. One example that stands out was where a member who updated how she presented a wedding package on her website. And after a conversation in one of those groups, she changed what she was presenting on the website. It was a small shift, but within a few days, she got a booking. And she was shocked. And she couldn't wait to share it with her group of peers who meet every month. And those moments really show that sometimes it's the simple, practical ideas that make the biggest impact. And, it's so rewarding to see those moments of like, I did this and then I got the results, and it's super cool.
And it's almost like at the conference even, you come out with almost too many ideas.
Yes.
And how do you filter that down and say, okay, I've only got to focus on these handful.
You leave more overwhelmed than you started, right?
But in a good way, because
way.
like you said, you are hearing maybe that slight difference of how you were thinking about it. Which
Yeah,
really
it doesn't need to be a big overhaul of the operations or your pricing. Just those little things sometimes.
Right.
Somebody else, has already tried it. They've tested it. The risk is low.
Yeah. exactly.
Yeah, so we consistently see a meaningful lift in visibility and engagement for our properties that participate in our co-op marketing program. In particular, our dedicated emails. And they perform well because it targets a small, highly qualified segment of consumers and generates great click-through rates and a strong open rate as well.
And many of your members ask me in meetings, hey, can you show me on my analytics where this data is? Can you show me the revenue so that they can really see it and understand?
Absolutely.
Hey, you know what? I saw these, but I got a phone call about that. Maybe they didn't make it online.
Right. So it's interesting. I mean, members know their business and they're savvy, and they utilize analytical tools to make sure that they're making the right decisions. So it's it's important to kind of make sure the two connect.
And then when we have ThinkOrg, you have those show up in their direct bookings.
Absolutely.
And they see those come up, and they of course get excited about that ROI.
Yeah, absolutely.
How are your organizations helping members stay visible and confident as traveler search behavior continues to shift?
Well, technology is moving fast, and it can definitely feel overwhelming for independent lodging owners, for sure. And our job at ALP is to help cut through the noise and focus on what actually matters. We do that through education and bringing in experts, offering practical sessions, and breaking things down in a way that feels usable, not intimidating. We're also leaning more into AI education because we know there's a lot of questions out there right now. And we make sure our members have a place to learn from each other too, which we keep talking about because it is so important. Because a lot of times the best advice comes from someone who's dealing with the exact same challenges. And the goal isn't to chase every tool. It's to stay informed, make smart choices, and feel confident about where you put your time.
And of course, your education committee includes property owners, so they
Absolutely.
are giving you feedback probably in real time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we hear, whether it's through social media, our Facebook page, or in our hospitality huddles, we have so many forums where we can really hear what the members are talking about or needing from each other, and that really helps us to build everything we do.
Yeah, you mentioned noise, and the volume of the noise is amplifying on a daily basis. I think as an industry, we're in the middle of a major shift in how travelers search and how travelers plan for their getaways, and we're kind of approaching that on two different fronts. One's kind of a short-term, more immediate front, and the other is long-term. So first, we're looking at how Select Registry shows up in search. So that goes beyond just traditional search now. So we're making sure we're visible in AI-driven search as well. We're working to establish an authoritative voice, creating more conversational content that AI tools can easily surface. And then behind the scenes, we're restructuring our data and kind of consolidating from multiple data sources into a single data source that can power today's marketing efforts and also position us for kind of wherever this AI boom takes us. So I kind of compare that to a water heater. You got to have it. It's not sexy and it's not interesting. Data is not interesting, but you got to have it. And, so that makes an important foundation for us. And then the other thing that we think is important for our members is making sure that our presence is equipped to handle whatever comes our way. So we're looking at a future world where a traveler's personal chatbot is interacting with tools like our own chatbot to design and book an entire itinerary, kind of based on what the traveler's unique preferences are. We're preparing for that future with, trying to be thoughtful and trying to be practical, but still be proactive, and ensuring that, our data structure can support it, and that we have the right tools in place to make sure that our site is relevant down the road.
Nobody, the people who got into this, we get into this property, owning a property we didn't want to get into tech. We wanted to host people, you know. So of course, you got to balance it. And then that's great where you have a resource of peers or vendors that are really good at that technology. When members start to feel overwhelmed by all this, what guidance or reassurance do you usually offer?
When someone starts to feel overwhelmed, I remind them that they have support. They don't have to figure everything out on their own. Even though, they feel isolated sometimes, we have to remind them you're not. And they can tap into our education and bring questions to our peer groups and talk to people who've already tried the things that they're considering. And I think just having that kind of community to lean on takes a lot of that pressure off.
Yeah, I think it's completely understandable to be overwhelmed. These are big shifts, and it's a shift away from what we're used to. So that's overwhelming in and of itself, but it's moving fast, and it's changing almost daily. And I think that is another thing that can add to the anxiety. What I usually tell members is you don't have to figure it out all at once. And as Sarah said, you don't have to do it by yourself. So start by learning at a pace that you're comfortable with. Lean on trusted partners and vendors that can help you interpret what matters. And talk with your peers who are facing the same challenges. This is an evolution. It's not an overnight switch, and nothing has to be done today. You can kind of take it a step at a time.
And many try different technologies based on how they want to run their business.
Unfortunately, I think the innkeeping community is not necessarily take it one step at a time and take an easy approach to it. They're drivers and they want to get things done, so the anxiety builds because of that. But there's a lot of people that can help you kind of maneuver through everything that's coming up.
How are you helping represent interest of lodging properties at the national level, especially around things like regulation, taxation, or short-term rentals?
Yeah, advocacy is a big area where independent owners really need support because it's almost impossible to keep up with everything on your own. At ALP, we partner closely with the American Hotel and Lodging Association, AHLA, who leads the national advocacy work. And we act as sort of a bridge for our members, making sure that they know what's happening and what it actually means for their business and how it's applicable. We also recently surveyed our members to identify the top issues impacting them, so we know exactly where to focus. The areas that rose to the top were things like workforce challenges, short-term rentals, OTA fairness, and ADA-related concerns. And knowing those priorities helps us to track legislation at both the state and federal level and update our resources and communications accordingly. We're not in the room actually writing the bills, but we are making sure our members know what's happening, feel represented, and stay plugged in to the bigger advocacy work being done on their behalf.
I often see questions about GDPR and what's the national, the U.S. rules. So yeah.
Yeah, it can be very another overwhelming thing that, these lodging property owners, they don't have the time to learn all the new tech, to follow all the legislation.
Is it really relevant to them in their market?
Right. Yeah. Again, it's weeding through that noise.
Yeah, the labor issue is really interesting, and it's a shame that a member has to adjust their revenue or adjust who they allow to come in based upon the staffing availability. And that's a really complicated challenge, and unfortunate that folks have to contend with that. Formal advocacy really isn't a part of Select Registry's core mission, so we don't really lobby at the national level. When questions about regulations or taxation or short-term rentals come up, I'll often draw on my own experience as an innkeeper or direct folks to our staff. I would encourage them to use our member forum to see if they can get ideas from that. And then we often refer to the folks who are actually handling advocacy, which would be the folks at ALP. So that being said, we are using our PR and our branding platform to clearly define and elevate the independent lodging segment to a broader conversation. So it's not overshadowed or lumped into what large hotel teams are doing or what short-term rental platforms are doing. And this helps give us a stronger position and helps independent properties. So My biggest pet peeve when I speak to friends is they say to me, you owned an Airbnb. It absolutely drives me nuts. And it's my mission now to clarify that to the world.
I'm sure you are not alone with other properties as well. Would you be able to share a recent example of where advocacy efforts made a real difference for a property?
Advocacy efforts don't often come with one big dramatic win. Most of it happens slowly and behind the scenes. What really matters is that independent owners actually have a seat at the table. And through us and our partnership with AHLA, their concerns are heard. And they're part of the national conversation, and they're not getting lost in the shuffle. And that makes a real difference. We also take part in AHLA's Hotels on the Hill. And one thing that always stands out is how much lawmakers pay attention to independent properties. Sometimes more than the big brands, because these owners are their constituents, they're small business owners. And that kind of visibility and voice really matters on the Hill.
Well, I think that's interesting also because, I think local and small businesses are important to the consumer. So there's another segment that's probably driving the conversation at that level as well.
Yeah.
How are you supporting education within your membership so they stay up to date? It's kind of a softball for you, Sarah.
I love this question. Education is really at the heart of what we do at ALP. And things change so fast in this industry and in this economy and in this world. And independent owners don't always have the time to sort through everything on their own. So we focus on giving them practical, relevant information that they can actually use. And that, again, comes through our peer-to-peer learning groups and our ALP Unlocked sessions, our e-newsletter and our digital magazine and the content we share on our blog and our social channels. And we're always listening to what members want and need and what's important to them. So we know where they need support. We're not going to create content for the sake of creating content. So we know, we try to get a really good handle on where they need us.
Yeah, for us, the big part about education is actually getting out of the way and letting our members learn from each other. We hear consistently that when our members are together, what they really value most is time to interact, compare notes, and talk through kind of the challenges that they're facing on a day-to-day basis. At the same time, when we do provide structured educational content, our goal is to really elevate the conversation and challenge the way of thinking, focusing on not just tactics, but bigger picture thinking so that our members can make smarter decisions.
And one thing I do want to add to that is, in this day and age, it's easy to Google. It's easy to ask AI. But there's really no duplication of real world examples and that face-to-face connection. I mean, it's you can't get that from Google.
Absolutely.
And that's where associations these days, I think, still really have a lot of value is that connection.
Absolutely.
And you never know what's going to come up in those discussions. It's just so organic when you get together. Do you have digital options or more regional partnership playing a role in the future? Do you see that?
Yeah, absolutely. Digital options are going to continue to be a huge part of how we support our members. They're flexible, accessible, and easy for owners to fit into their crazy schedules. We've been expanding our digital offerings, and we'll keep building on that. And I definitely see regional partnerships playing a bigger role too. We're already reaching out to some state and regional associations to share educational content with their members. And I think that's the kind of collaboration that's only going to grow. It needs to grow. It helps us reach more people and bring education closer to home.
Yeah, when we're looking at member education, we see it kind of on three fronts: digital webinars, regional gatherings, and a sort of national gathering. And we think each of them serve their purpose. Certainly digital options are often easier for members because they're easier to access. They don't have to travel and they can kind of plug in from wherever. But as Sarah mentioned earlier, there is tremendous value in being together in person, especially like at regional and national events, where you're in a dedicated environment with fewer distractions, that's really where the deeper conversations and real relationship building occurs.
Yeah, there's no phone ringing. There's no housekeeping issue you need to deal with.
There's no toilet to plunge.
Nobody's trying to check in.
Those check-ins, oh my God, they're such a pet. What new programs or partnerships are on the horizon over the next 12 to 18 months that you're excited about? This is my favorite question.
This might be one of my favorite questions too. I don't know about you, Mark. So the big thing that I'm excited about is that we are launching for 2026 ALP Academy. And it's going to be our new hands-on learning series. And it's built around the practical, actionable education independent owners need and have been asking for. Each Academy lab is going to run for 3 weeks with 1-hour sessions every week. And they're going to be instructor-led sessions. And it's going to be very interactive. And that's what we're really excited about, to be really hands-on. And the members are going to be doing the work right there in the lab, and maybe even a little homework.
Oh, interesting.
So it's not just listening to concepts. You're going to walk away with a tangible something that you can implement into your business. So some of the topics that we are going to be covering in our labs next year are going to be things like guest experience, getting a handle on AI, strengthening their marketing, and even building culinary skills. And it's really meant to be a true learn it today, use it tomorrow type of education. So, there's going to be, instructor feedback on the things they've developed, and
interesting.
It's going to be really cool.
Come back the next week and tell us how you did. Huh?
Yeah, well, we're actually going to create like a special Facebook group where they can post their sample marketing item that they created, or their sample blog post or newsletter, and get feedback from their peers and their instructor.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing how that all goes forward.
Me too. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. We're really excited.
That's great.
Mark.
So many of the initiatives that I've mentioned are still kind of in their early stages. So I'm really excited to see how they play out in the next 12 to 18 months. Our PR initiative, while relatively new to the organization, is already showing strong results, and we expect that momentum to continue. One piece that I'm particularly pleased about is a new PR benefit we're extending to our members, which gives them access to media and influencer exposure without having to hire a PR firm on their own, which can be quite costly.
Interesting.
We recognize that AI is going to continue to shape how we operate and how we not only communicate with our members, but how we connect them with the traveler. So we're investing in sort of foundational elements that are related to that. Data, as I mentioned, content, which will be structured a little bit differently, and technology. And that will enable us to kind of leverage the tools that we need to leverage in a smart, practical way. But we're also looking at some of our current benefits and expanding on them. So that would be things like our rewards program and allowing members to offer to their travelers for a period or for an entire year double points for their stay, or taking advantage of our database and expanding on the things that they're offering in their business through our site.
It's quite the breadth of different
lots of different things.
Yeah, that's fantastic. What are you hearing from members right now that's helping shape those plans and priorities?
Yeah, well, ALP Academy, really came to us from listening to our members. We check in with them regularly, whether it's through our annual survey or when we're on the phone with them or through the peer-to-peer groups or at the conference. And the message has really been consistent. They want more hands-on learning, real takeaways and practical guidance. They don't want, it's still useful, of course, but these, big picture education, it's not necessarily something you can do to your business the next day. So that's really, really what shaped the ALP Academy format, is to, really give them focused time, guided work, and something tangible they can put in to practice, and hopefully, make it work for them.
Yeah, I was at a conference and talking to a property owner, and he was telling me how he was apprehensive about having a full house. And I told them, you're just going to learn. You're going to figure it out the first time, the second time, the third time, and it gets so much easier. Yeah. So that hands-on has got to be a great way for them to learn.
Yeah, but this is really, it's while it's something that we came up with, it's really the members that really developed this sort of for us. We just built the structure around what they wanted and what they needed. So
great.
Yeah, our members, especially some of our smaller properties, have shared understandable concerns about like the cost of a full-scale PR campaign or a major shift in technology and how they're going to be able to incorporate that into already tight budgets. And so, we're offering programs that we think can help them address that. Certainly our PR initiative is a piece of that. And then kind of broadening our technology base, not only on our own site, but extending that to our members is helpful as well. We know for a fact that our members want us to focus on two things. They want us to continue to focus on quality assurance. They recognize the value of that. They see that as an important piece of their membership. And then they want us to, after that, focus on brand awareness because they want their property out there and travelers to come see them.
Of course. As you look ahead, how do you see your organizations evolving so it continues to be relevant to the hospitality industry?
Yeah, I really think that relevance starts with paying attention to what the members need. Things are shifting so quickly. Technology, staffing, guest expectations. So we really have to evolve with that. We're doing that through ALP Academy and ALP Unlocked. And, we can really deliver tailored education. We're also continuing to build our digital content so members can access support whenever it works for them. As long as we stay member driven and flexible, ALP will continue to be a meaningful resource in this industry.
As we look ahead, we know that one thing that won't change is the foundational role of quality assurance in our organization. It's our promise to the customer, and it's a key way for our members to differentiate themselves, as I mentioned before. But what will continue to evolve is, how we communicate with travelers, how we interact with our members, and how we support their changing needs. Our focus is on understanding both the member and the traveler and developing sort of compelling ways that the two can meet together, whether that's through technology or a marketing approach or an enhanced member benefit. But staying true to our core of verifying quality, broadcasting that to the world is what we'll continue to do.
Yell it from the rooftop.
Yeah.
Before we leave, can you tell us about any upcoming events that you have?
I would love to. As a matter of fact.
Shucks.
We have our national conference coming up March 2nd through 5th in Cleveland, Ohio. Rock and roll,
See
baby.
you there.
And it's going to be some great education, some incredible speakers. There's going to be education for the newbie and the advanced, and as well as our aspiring owners, which are a hugely important part of our community. So that's our big thing coming up next.
It's great talking to those aspiring innkeepers.
Oh, they're so excited, and they're just little sponges.
Yes.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, so we rotate between regional and national conferences. So in this year, we focused on the regional level. And then next year, November 8th, 9th, and 10th, we'll have a national gathering of our members in Ponte Vedra, Florida. So I'm looking forward to enjoying the beach in November.
Sounds lovely. That's the perfect time of year to be in Florida.
Absolutely.
Well, I hope it's a huge success to both of you in your next events. Thank you. I love this time talking to you both, and I really appreciate you taking the time to come talk to me. I hope that this was a great opportunity for you, and I look forward to talking to you guys again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Same here.
Thank
Thanks
you so
for
much.
the invite.